Okay, let's go to the locks. And by the way, I got to just recap last week's locks. Ashton, just on an absolute heater, 2-0, 8-1 on the season.
Yep.
Ashton, if you were putting like massive amounts of money on this, you could be a millionaire at this point. Just betting on these games so far this year. So congrats to you. Your wins, both of them. Wyoming plus 29.5 against Texas. Correctly called, kind of the letdown spot for Texas. And you also had Washington minus 16 versus Michigan State. Never in doubt. I was a little worse, not great. 2-3 for me, 9-12 on the season. I agreed with you on Washington minus 16, had that one. I also had Maryland minus 14 against Virginia. By the way, just want to point out, Virginia has a freshman quarterback who played some because of injury to Musket and ended up having some turnovers in the fourth quarter and stuff when he was trying to do too much. But sneaky little fun guy to watch, throws darts, is fun. He runs. Yeah, anyway. Just something to keep an eye on for Virginia. They might actually have an answer at quarterback eventually. But Maryland, pretty easily covered there. My losses, all three were huge favorites. All three kind of letdowns. Alabama minus 31.5 against USF. In my defense, I made that pick when I thought Jalen Milroe was starting. Would not have made it otherwise, but I still lose because that's what I selected. I also had Notre Dame minus 33.5 against Central Michigan.
Yeah.
Won comfortably, but another B-minus performance, obviously, with the look-ahead spot with Ohio State. Florida State, same story there, kind of. Not the comfortable win, but they were favored by 25.5 against Boston College, and I took them to cover because Boston College showed no reason that they would hang, but they did. So, yeah, we'll see if we can do a little – I'll see if I can do a little better this week. Ashton, you just keep doing what you're doing, clearly. I know you told me beforehand that you don't have a lot for week 4, but what are you looking at for locks this week?
Okay. So here's kind of my thought process behind it all. I try to come out of the gates storming, right? Like the goal is when you get a little bit of an edge against Vegas early in the season, week 1, week 2, week 3, you feel like you go ahead and you make your picks and try to build up a nice lead early, which I have pulled off this year. But I do think Vegas catches up, man. Like Vegas is really sharp. These lines, I don't see a ton out there. And part of the reason why that I don't really have any lines that I just like, ooh, like that's easy. Like that's an easy one. It's because we have all of these ranked versus ranked matchups, which is the downside of it. Because, okay, on Sunday, we're going to have a much better idea of where these teams are. We're going to know way more about Colorado. We're going to know way more about Utah. We're going to definitely know more about like Notre Dame and Ohio State, right? Right now we're like, this is when we find out. So it's a hard week to bet on them. Yeah, I don't see just a ton of it. I will say the one that just popped out to me that I will be on is the Utah UCLA over. It's at 51. I think Cam Rising will be playing. There's no reason to hold him back now. This is Pac-12 play. Like Utah is a good football team. They need him to play. UCLA just they come with points. Like that's Kelly's calling card, right? Like UCLA will scheme up points. It's two really good offenses. I think there will be plenty of points in this game. I think 51 is wildly low. I think it's going to be more like 60. So yeah, I think that's a fairly easy over. I'll make that my lock. I'm willing to be convinced on another one. I feel bad only bringing one to the table. Like talk me into it. Like let's just go through the board. What are you thinking? I've got a couple of leans. I guess I could be convinced. Let's say that.
All right. I've got 6 I'm looking at. Not committed to taking all 6 of them, especially because 3 of them are really like not a number I like. But as far as just if you're looking at key numbers and stuff. The first one of those is Oklahoma minus 14.5 against Cincinnati. Oklahoma has been an absolute machine offensively this season. Haven't really played anybody good, but they just lay waste everybody. I don't think Cincinnati's all that good. Their win against Pitt looks maybe less impressive now after Pitt was terrible against West Virginia. I think Oklahoma covers this. I am going to take this one, even though it's that 14 and a hook, like the 14.5. I don't love that number, but I think they look up their offense's numbers so far. Dylan Gabriel laying waste to everybody in his path. And Jackson Arnold is also doing great when he comes in inevitably because they're so far ahead. So there's no drop off for Oklahoma's backup quarterback this year, unlike last year. So, yeah. Did I convince you on that one?
Maybe. That was one that I was already thinking about earlier. Cincinnati coming off a really bad loss to Miami of Ohio. That's not a good loss for Cincinnati this past week. And you mentioned the Oklahoma offense is a wagon. Like, they are train wrecking people. They put up 73, 28, and 66 in the first 3 weeks. It's a road game for them. Yeah, keep going. I may join you on that one. That's a good one. I don't mind that one at all.
All right. Ohio, -12 against Bowling Green. I don't know a ton about Bowling Green this year. I just think Ohio is clearly the best team in the MAC. And, yeah, felt like for this one, it's kind of the opposite, where I like the number. I like that 12 is under 14 there. So, don't have a whole lot else on it other than I trust Ohio.
No, you keep on going. I'm just, that's a no for me.
All right. Another one that I don't like the number specifically, but I love the matchup. Maryland -7.5 against Michigan State. Obviously a lot going on with Michigan State right now.
Yeah, true that.
Maryland can throw the ball, and we saw Washington throw the ball at will against Michigan State. We've kind of been, you and I have both kind of been all over like Michigan State secondary not being very good and fading them when they play passing teams. Maryland was pretty solid last week. They played on a Friday night, so if you put any stock in an extra day to prepare, I don't know. That really goes into it a whole lot, but can you talk me out of that one, or do I have to take the 7.5 there?
Yeah, no, I like that one. Maryland's offense also good. 38 points first week, 38 points second week. Last week against Virginia, 42. So 38, 38, 42. And we do not think, and okay, we're almost certain that the Michigan State defense, pass defense in particular, is not very good.
Right.
I don't mind that one at all. Do you say that was that 7.5? Is that what I saw? 7. That 7.5. You always hate that half point there. It's such a brutal half point. Because of the way scores come out.
But they might win by 2 touchdowns.
Fair enough. No, I this one may not matter. I mean, 7.5, you're not really worried about when you're up by 3 scores. So, yeah, I don't mind that one at all. Keep going. I might come back around.
All right. Oregon State -2.5 at Wazoo. I like Wazoo. I just think Oregon State is a step above them. To me, this line should be 4, 5, 6 points, something like that. Oregon State, this is just kind of I'm just putting a lot of faith in Jonathan Smith and this Oregon State team. It seems like they just show up every week. Like, you never see Oregon State just not show up and have like one of those games where you're just like, well, that didn't make any sense. Like what we saw like Florida State or whatever. Like,
right.
Oregon State just is always good. They run the ball, they pass the ball. I don't think Wazoo will be able to stop them. Although their defense is better than some people might realize. So, talking out of both sides of my mouth there a little bit.
Fair. Did you get that at 2.5? Is that right? I'm showing 3. Let me see what so I use an offer book. Let me see what that one has as well.
I was pretty sure I saw a 2.5 somewhere.
Okay. If that's not at 2.5, that's not bad at all.
FanDuel has it at 2.5.
Okay. Gotcha. Ooh, I just picked up on my book. The Maryland Michigan State number is at 7. So I have that number at 7, which is tasty.
Can I take that?
That's me. Yeah, I'm taking that one. So I'll have agreement. I'll have agreement with you there. That 7 number is so much better than 7.5. That half point always scares me. But yeah, I'll take Maryland -7. Against Michigan State.
Perfect.
That makes me feel a lot better.
Yes. All right, one more that's at 7.5. North Carolina against Pitt. Drake May is just so much better than Phil Dracovic. So, yeah, there you have it. North Carolina will score points. I'm not convinced Pitt will. So, 7.5 feels low to me. I wouldn't have been shocked if I had seen 14.
This is the game where Pitt will come out and be super physical and run the ball and play ball control offense. And it's going to make you upset. I know you don't like that. but this is going to be a game like Pitt's going to beat North Carolina. Like that's just going to happen.
Fight me then. It's a
And
high
yeah,
number. If you believe in
I'm
Pitt.
not fighting. No, I'm not going to fight you on that one. I don't believe in it that much, but I'm just saying that's the side I would be on. I would be on the other side of that one there.
Fair enough. I've got one more I'm ruminating on. You tell me what you think.
Okay.
I'm looking at USC minus 33.5 against Arizona State.
Too high. Too much. No, I know your thought process, and it's that like we don't believe in the Arizona State quarterback, right? And they don't really have many players left.
Their offensive line is just absolutely ravaged with injuries.
It's a big number. It's too big for me. Yeah, you go for it.
I'm looking at USC's schedule to see if this is a look ahead spot for them by any chance.
It is. They have Colorado next week.
Oh man, I love that it's right under the 5 touchdown mark, but I'll take my cue from you. You're the one here who is 8-1 on the season, so I'll take that one off the board. I'll stick with my 5. So right now you have Utah, UCLA over 51. You have Maryland minus 7 against Michigan State.
Yeah.
I also have Maryland minus 7. I have Oklahoma minus 14.5 against Cincinnati, Ohio minus 12 against Bowling Green, Oregon State minus 2.5 against Washington State, and North Carolina minus 7.5 against Pitt. Did I talk you into any others besides the Maryland one?
I might still circle back on the Oklahoma Cincinnati one. That number is great. Let me see what I have it again at mine. And just see what that number is. I don't the other ones I'm staying away from for sure. So yeah, I also have 14.5 at mine. I don't like that half point.
Sure.
I could, if I would do it, maybe you buy it down or something and buy that half point. That's doable. But I mean,
don't buy it down. That's a scam. Never do that.
Oh, really? Wow. The Oklahoma side is the side. Like that's the side to be on, in my opinion. So I agree with you. You're right. I don't have it as one of my locks. I'll just, again, staying disciplined, staying with 2. One thing that I do think is fun is seeing teams' record against the spread. Like just kind of, there's great websites out there that have all this information. Oklahoma they're 3-0, a perfect 3-0 against the spread. They've covered every single time, and they have a large margin of victory. It's almost 20 points greater than the spread. And again, a lot of that comes, from the 73 points you score in week 1, right? But that's noteworthy. That means that like they are being undervalued a bit by Vegas, and you keep betting them until the luck runs out. Like that's how that works. Like you keep on betting that team that's hot until they go down. So yeah, I like that strategy from you. I like it a lot. I'm not going to join you, but have no problem with it at all.